Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Mobile, Alabama rapper Honeykomb Brazy and how he's being sent back to prison for the next 13 and a half years. News broke that Mobile, Alabama rapper Honeykomb Brazy is heading back to prison. Brazy, whose real name is Nashawn Jones, was on probation after a conviction for being a felon in possession of a firearm. He was originally sentenced to 15 years in Alabama State Prison, but was released on probation after serving only 18 months. But now, the district attorney's office is demanding he serve the rest of his sentence, a total of 13 and a half years. Prosecutors asked the judge to send him back during a June 16th hearing after presenting 15 different video clips showing Brazy with what they believe are firearms and drugs, therefore violating the terms of his probation and yet again committing the same crime that placed him on probation. Brazy's lawyers argued in court that any weapons or items resembling drugs were merely stage props for his music videos. They were purchased on eBay and Amazon, and furthermore, no real firearms would be allowed on the music video set because it goes against his company's insurance policy. But even if that was true, the judge wrote in his order, that doesn't explain a shooting in Montgomery, Alabama that Brazy was present for, in which his associates exchanged gunfire in a shootout that was recorded not only on surveillance video, but initially by Brazy himself, who was on Instagram Live at the time. But what doesn't make sense is Brazy was obviously targeted in the shooting, and anyone returning fire would by law be defending themselves and those present, including Brazy, who was at no point in time in possession or firing a weapon during that shooting. Prosecutors took it a step further, accusing Brazy of also failing to check in with his probation officer. But Brazy acknowledged the fact that he ignored an order to report, stating he was in fear for his life after his grandparents' house had just been targeted, shot up, and burnt down after an oxygen tank inside of the home exploded after being struck with a bullet, resulting in the loss of both of his grandparents. It's no secret multiple attempts have been made on Brazy's life, to the point even checking in with probation could put his life at risk. But prosecutors would continue to point out that only 3 months into his probation, Brazy admitted to using both marijuana and Percocet and leaving the state to travel to Houston, Texas, which are all violations. Brazy's defense attorney told Fox 10 News he wished the judge denied the state's motion to revoke his client's probation, but he understands the judge's opinion, saying the judge conducted a 2.5-hour hearing and took 3 weeks to review all of the evidence against Brazy before making a decision. Even if the guns, drugs, and alcohol were just props, the depiction of using drugs and possessing weapons isn't appropriate conduct for a man on probation for a weapons offense. At this time, Honeykomb Brazy remains in the Mobile County Jail, pending transfer to state prison after the judge made his decision. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like this case is 100% bullshit. But at the same time, when you were given a 15-year sentence and released after 18 months, you need to appreciate that freedom. And this is where the line is drawn on being a gangster rapper. Because the thing about this, right? It's a double-edged sword. You want to show all the fans and everybody in the streets you're a gangster, and you're still gangster even after you made it, because that's how you maintain your reputation, right? A lot of people get that image and that audience off of being who they are, which is what their fans aren't. They're gangsters, and that's why the fans like them. Because through that music, the fans are able to live a life that they really fucking don't. But when you're gangster to the point that you're on probation and still portraying that, not even portraying it, you just are. You find yourself in gangster situations such as people trying to take your life, Unfortunately, his grandparents were killed. He was involved in a shooting, but I don't even agree with that. He wasn't involved in a shooting. He was targeted in a shooting. People tried to kill him while he was on Instagram Live, and apparently people in his entourage fired back. I don't know what's illegal about that. If nobody in his entourage was arrested for weapons possessions, firearm offenses, being a felon, I don't see how that's any different than having actual hired security shooting back at someone that just attempted to kill you. And the fact that you didn't get caught with a gun, shooting a gun, etc., what the fuck did you do to violate law? Now, the only thing I could understand being used against him is if part of his probation terms was he can't be around any other gang members or convicted felons. But then again, they would need to prove those that were around him that were firing back were gang members or convicted felons. So this is where shit gets tricky, right? You can't really sit in front of a judge and be like, everything is a prop, everything is a facade, I just put out this image for the sake of music. But then you're involved in things where people are getting shot at, you're getting shot at, you're obviously a fucking target, and you're doing interviews talking about how many people you stabbed inside a prison. It's common for people to fall victim to the same image that they create. And a lot of people don't understand that. When you're on probation, you gotta move a certain way, but you have to understand where he is coming from. His grandparents were just killed. There's been attempts on his life. And part of the terms of his probation is he's not even allowed to leave his state. He doesn't live in the biggest fucking state. He's accessible anywhere he goes, to the point that he's not even going to the PO office because people know he's on probation. Okay, boom, we're gonna sit out here and wait. We know he gotta show up eventually. We want him that bad, we're gonna wait. I mean, who in all actuality would sit for a month straight inside of a PO's office hoping to catch him? I don't know. But they wanted him bad enough that they flamed up his grandparents' house. So to me, from a defense point of view, the defense is there, but it's hard to argue because of who the client is. It's hard to say he didn't do anything. It was all fake. It was for music videos. He's not a bad guy. You can't really stand there and say that. You have to really say, hey, I know he's involved in some shit, but in this situation, he really didn't do much. Did he not report? Yes, but he has a valid excuse. Did he use drugs? Yes. Maybe we need to put him in a substance abuse program. Maybe they need to transfer his probation to another state where he's deemed safe, where he can actually move around that state without worrying about being killed. A lot of people don't know that you can have your probation transferred to another state if the court approves it, and you will be under probation in that state. But how they really fucked him is the fact that they're putting him in prison. And inside of prison, I guarantee you he's gonna have ops in there. He's gonna have people that he's into it with. And when you're in prison, you don't have the option to not get involved in the bullshit unless you're gonna go PC. And in certain state prisons, you're even accessible in PC. The guards will do you dirty and make sure people can get at you and hit you up, cut you, stab you, etc. You gotta fight for your fucking life. And everything that happens from now on inside of state prison, if he gets into any violent conflicts, it's all gonna be used against him. His lawyer's gonna be going up there saying, Your Honor, you know what? He's been in here for this amount of time. We feel that if he gets put on probation, we can make things right. And the prosecutors are going to stand there and say, oh yeah, well he got a disciplinary report for a fight on this day. He got caught with a weapon in his cell on this day. He got caught stabbing another inmate on this day. They're not going to acknowledge the fact that so many people want to kill him. They're just going to acknowledge every single thing that he does wrong in an attempt to keep him in prison for the next 13.5 years. Beware of who you want to be, who you are, and who you're making people perceive you as. Because at any point in time, if you're doing anything illegal, it can all fall down and be used against you. But hey, it's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. Till next time.